internalized isms, such as internalized inferiority, internalized superiority, internalized racism, sexism, heterosexism, you name it. We all have these biases. So it's very important for us to be aware of those things, that we check ourselves. And so my philosophy in supervision is primarily get therapists to look at themselves and how their selves impact the relationship. Like I said, the relationship is always, the way I think, relationship is always number one, always. Once you got that relationship, you can do whatever you want when it comes to healing and growth, because they're gonna understand the place that you're coming from. You have that. When you don't have a relationship, it's not gonna go. And if your stuff isn't in check, it's not gonna work either. So if you have some internalized, I'm talking to, I think it's a conference a couple weeks ago, Black educators, and had a conversation about how we switch our voices to blend with white folks. She thought there was nothing wrong with that. I'm saying, tell her, like, why do we have to do that? She's thinking I'm literally asking her a question. She told me, well, because this, that. I'm like, it was a rhetorical question. You know what I mean? I was trying to educate, let her know. So it's one of those things where it's internalized. She was like, well, we have to do that. I'm like, but why do we have to do it? We shouldn't have to do that. That's the problem. But if you can't recognize the problem, it's kind of hard to tackle those things. So it's kind of challenging those notions, because you don't want to damage a youth or a child with those views. You know what I mean? And those things have to be checked, especially internalized racism. That's like a biggie. So the work with youth is kind of on giving like the logistics. So like I said earlier, not labeling them as bad kids, writing them off, especially in schools, not assessing. So assessing the whole context. Like, okay, could there be violence going on in the home? What's going on at home to make them act this way? It's not, in my philosophy, no behavior is ever random. It's not random. It's not just there for nothing. So it's something going on. Also, the cookie cutter method. One of my participants said, like, some even teachers and clinicians feel like all Black folk are the same. That's not the case. We're all different. We all have different things. And even applying, which is a pet peeve of mine, white interventions to Black families, it doesn't fit. So it's one of those things as well. It's just saying that, hey, don't make a cookie cutter. Everyone is different. We all have different experiences. You go based on what it is that we need. There's also this piece around recognizing some warning signs. Usually, they say typically in research that girls typically internalize, so that's depression, anxiety, cutting, depending on the age, those types of manifestations when it comes to witnessing domestic violence. Boys typically externalize, which is acting out, being oppositional, violent behavior, things like that. But like I said, once again, in my research, like I said, it was the other way around for different reasons. But it just speaks to needing more research when it comes to African Americans, because I struggle with this dissertation. There's literally nothing out there. So, someone has to do it, but it was really a struggle because there was no literature. I had to pull from different fields to create what I have. So it's just really understanding those things, reporting to authorities, developing a safety plan, and also helping them understand, distinguishing what's safe and what isn't. Like I said earlier, they're always on high alert, so they don't know. It's like what's dangerous, what's not dangerous, things like that. And also, and this part is tricky, of providing therapy during the witnessing. And the only way I could see that making sense is in the school. Because, parents, especially victims, they're not going to say, oh, let's go to therapy to talk about it. It's a safety problem. It's a big safety issue. So in the context of school, maybe some school counseling or something to that effect, that can help, because it can kind of prevent the effects from becoming more entrenched in adulthood, because especially during adolescence, that's a very critical time period. Things that you develop in that time frame oftentimes kind of manifest itself in your adulthood. So if you can tackle it in the moment, and kind of challenge those things, help them understand that there's alternatives to conflict resolution, because they don't, a lot of participants say, well, that's all I know. If I get in a conflict, I'm gonna hit somebody. So they don't know alternative ways to handle conflict. And it's also a piece of emotional.
Do they have the specialists like yourself in the schools to help the children?
Not like they should. They have like school counselors, social workers that do like the case management and things like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one of the issues that I'm seeing, I have a foster daughter who's 15 years old. And what I'm seeing from her therapist and her psychologist, I guess it's a psychiatrist, they're constantly prescribing more medicine.
Yes.
And I mean, and I had problems because like right before school started, the psychiatrist asked her, you know, was she having any issues? And she said, I'm a little apprehensive, I'm going to a new school. He said, well, I'll up your dosage. And I was like, that's anybody going to a new school would be a little apprehensive. You don't need no medicine. And he's a black doctor. And I'm looking at him like, and I can't say too much as a foster parent because as soon as they see you questioning them, they take the kids out your house.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how defects operate.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
The state is the parent. I'm more or less a hotel.
that's the way they do it, and that's why if you did the research into I'm doing some right now, every one of those mass shootings they've had for the past 10 years, they were all on drugs. Every last one of them.
Oh, wow.
And that's why
Yeah.
that's what the problem is.
It is a problem, not
Yeah.
quickly prescribing,
Yeah.
one participant said, like, not quickly giving these kids drugs, but really assessing and understanding.
And
So
having them work through some of these.
yeah, exactly, cause all you need is one positive relationship, that's it.
Yeah.
Just at least one, you know, to work through that stuff.
Mhm.
So
And I
can
said-
we do, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can we do some type of, what do you call this thing, petition to get